For the record, could you please state your name?
My name is Hinati Pituho.
And my name is Irina Halton. This is my dad. He moved from Russia about 11 years ago, and his English is okay, so I will be translating. Okay, so he was born in USSR at the time, and he was born in 1950. He grew up in the countryside, and he left for studying in college.
What are some jobs that you had that utilized your education as an engineer?
So he started teaching at the technical college right after his own college.
Mm-hmm.
Then he moved to the factory that made metal sheets for the heavy machineries. He started as an engineer. Then he moved to be a manager of that particular department. And then he worked his way to be CEO of the company.
Can you describe that day that it happened or what he remembers?
May 1st was a national day of embracing government and all that. So people used to go to the parade. And so a day before the disaster happened, the government didn't want to screw the parade, so they got all the kids, young and old. Old people are downtown marching, you know what I mean, enjoying the day. Instead, they should have tell us right away so no one would go out. Well, so anyways, we all joined the parade, and it started to rain. And all I remember is that we couldn't understand what it was. Everything was covered in like pollen-like powder. It was very, very thick. So what it was the first rain was the radiation that landed on, and we were far enough that it wasn't too dangerous, but was dangerous enough that people should have stayed home. But the government pretty much didn't say anything to us, didn't inform us at all.
I see.
Until later. We didn't know anything. It's only later on when it started, coming from abroad, I think the wind was blowing that direction, so that's where people actually realized by, like a radiation alarms and stuff, so that's how it became public, because the government had to speak up.
Right, yeah.
Otherwise, I don't know if we would ever know,
That's scary. How did your government depict the American government?
Там не так, потому что неправильно.
Well, we didn't have a whole lot of info about the government here. All we knew is this kind of capitalism versus communism. So obviously everything was wrong here. Obviously it was, like I said, it was homeless, jobless people, too much, not even a freedom, but kind of Hollywood freedom, if you know what I mean. No structure to what the kids do. They can just take their time and this Woodstock and all of that kind of stuff. So they were trying to keep us uninformed about details.
I see.
His opinion about the country during the Cold War, let me just say that people really didn't know that much about it. You know what I mean? It was the war more on government level. I mean, we as people, we didn't hate Americans or anything along those lines. We didn't even know what it was all about, except that it could have been the World War III with, nuclear weapons. And at that point, we all knew what the end would be. But as far as hating American people, it was nothing like that, because people didn't know much about it. They just knew that government said, Americans are wrong, but why? There was no clear answer to that. So,
what were your opinions on communism then?
The teacher that worked all life in school could live the same kind of life as, let's say, CEO of a big company. There wasn't a huge gap between poor and rich. was more of a middle class. That's the difference between capitalism and what he thinks about socialism. He thought that it was better for people in general, not necessarily even to everyone, take from this person and give to that person. It wasn't like that anyways. It was more of a evening out, and not necessarily right, but in general, as far as you're talking about the whole population, life was better then.